that year, 2009, was a difficult year in Formula 2, especially the first year that the series was reborn. And we have a pretty significant incident with Henry Surtees. What comes to your mind about that?
I mean, I guess I get goosebumps. It was Brands Hatch. I actually won the race, and when I finished, people, I could see the faces. I obviously saw there was a red flag. There was a car stuck in the wall. But at the time, when you're racing, you're not thinking about any, tragical accident whatsoever, The day before, he was on the podium with me. So I remember everybody told me not to celebrate because the injuries were severe. Nobody spoke about his death yet because it was early stages, but we found out that day. It was probably one of the hardest days of my life, just because you realize he was 18 years old. His father was, MotoGP world champion and Formula One world champion in the most dangerous time and era of those two championships. And he was there witnessing his son, just horrible to witness. And obviously, it makes you consider a lot of things.
You took the championship that year, first try, first championship. What doors did it open for you?
So at that time, I was F3 champion. I finished fourth in World Series by Renault. I did 2 years in GP2 with some podiums, and then I won the FIA Formula 2 championship. After F3, I tested the Toyota F1, which was the V10 engine with the roof tires, amazing car to drive. And that year when I won F2, I was entitled, or the prize, let's say, was to test the Williams. So I already had a pretty accomplished career at the time. Mm-hmm. You're right. I was, talking to several F1 teams. I tested the Williams in Jerez. It was a rookie day, and Jules Bianchi was there with the Ferrari. Daniel Ricciardo was there with the Red Bull. Brendan Hartley, Hinchcliffe, Gary Paffett.
That's quite a list.
It was a good crowd, and it was, at the time they were doing the rookie day so that younger drivers or drivers who didn't have any prior experience in a GP could test an F1 car. And I was the fastest driver that day. Paul Di Resta was there as well. And I was like 2.5 tenths quicker than second. So when I did the test with the Williams, it was a pretty good car that year. They were qualifying fifth, fourth. I think they did a couple of podiums. It was a pretty competitive car. But the fact that I was the fastest is when I started to feel that was my chance to make it to F1.
And how do you cope with the chance of not being allowed into Formula One? Okay, you were a reserve driver for Virgin in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, because in 2011 it was Marussia already. How do you cope with that? You are reserve, but you cannot drive.
Again, frustration. You go to every Grand Prix, and you're there just waiting. And now that I see a lot of friends or fellow competitors as reserve drivers in F1, I have conversations with them and they tell me the same. It's very hard to be there just witnessing how other people, drivers that you've raced against, are actually racing. You're just watching. There was a lot of input on the simulator. So I did a lot of sim to try and develop the car, but we had very low budgets and we had very limited resources.
And if you want to hear more about that story, make sure to head over to the Spanish F4 social media pages and the YouTube channel where you can watch the full interview. But before that, we have the final race of the Spanish F4 weekend here at Jerez. 2 races have already been completed and 2 races packed full of action, just setting us up for the grand finale of race 3, which is just coming up in a few short moments. In the previous race, if you did miss it, it was René Lammers who walked away with the victory in that one, who just fell short in the first race. He had a drive-through penalty. When he felt like the race was just going his way, it was pulled away from underneath him. But in race 2, he was able to recover that result and get himself a nice race win. It was Juan Cota who finished in second with the fastest lap alongside him as well, the quickest driver on the circuit. Second in race 2, also had a podium in race 1, finishing P3. But Nathan Ty was the driver who rounded out the podium in race 2 as well. If you didn't catch race 1, that debuted the maiden podium for Ian Eichmans, who managed to walk away with a great victory and a beautiful win, which was very, very emotional for everybody there, for the MP Motorsport team and his family as well. So very well done to Ian Eichmans on getting his maiden podium of the of the Spanish F4 season, as he manages to walk away with that one. But race 3 is coming up now, and once again, it's Jan Piriowski starting on pole position. Now, can he fix his wrongs and make it a right? Because in the last 2 races, Jan Piriowski has started on pole position, but it's been a stall on the grid 2 times in a row where he started on pole. The first race, he had a driver collide into him, and that was the end of his race. Last time out, he had an issue on the grid, once again stalled, managed to get it recovered, and ended up finishing just outside of a point scoring position. So wasn't able to recover from that one. But is the 3rd time the charm for Jan Piriowski? And can this be the race where he's able to redeem himself and possibly get a race win? Joining alongside him, it is our championship leader of Thomas Strauven, who will be starting on the front row of the grid as well. Strauven, not quite the pace we would have been expecting from him this weekend. He had a P2 in race 1. Race 3, a little bit further down the order, stuck in a mid-pack battle, but still able to recover a few points towards his name. So from that, we'll be starting on the front row of the grid, and let's see if he's able to extend his sizable championship lead, which he already has to his name. On the second row, Juan Cota. He'll be starting from 3rd position, 2 podiums already this weekend. He's been looking very strong in terms of pace, setting the fastest lap in the second race as well. So interested to see what he's able to do from there. Alongside him, Noah Montero, a driver which has been involved in multiple battles over the course of the weekend, definitely getting stuck in and showing his racecraft to the rest of the grid. But can he get one of those front-facing results that every driver will be hoping to get? Then on the next row of the grid, it's René Lammers and Ian Eichmans, the 2 drivers that were going for blows in race 1 until Lammers picked up that drive-through penalty for the jump start. But Ian Eichmans in that previous race, in race 2, having to retire with an electrical issue on the car. So let's see if he's able to recover anything from P6 on the grid. René Lammers, obviously off the back of a race victory in the last one. Will he be able to get a second race victory of the weekend? Let's find out. Race 3 is coming up. Remember, 30 minutes plus 1 lap of action. A little bit more than the last race. Race 2 was 25 minutes plus 1 lap. So 5 extra minutes for these drivers to sort themselves in the positions that they will be hoping for. This Jerez circuit, it's packed a lot of action so far this weekend, and it is a tricky one indeed. 4.4 kilometers and 15 corners for these drivers to tackle over the course of a lap. Very tight and twisty, and any mistake from these drivers is just amplified by 1,000 just because of those small margins and the amount of speed that is needed to be carried through these corners. It is all about carrying as much momentum you can around this circuit. There is multiple heavy braking zones, but that's why it's so important that your minimum speed is kept as high as possible for these drivers. So let's see what we can do here at the final race of the Spanish F4 weekend at Jerez as we get ready for the drivers down on the grid. I'm sure they will be ready for some racing action when it becomes available to them. The timing screen seems that the pit lane should come open very, very soon. as we get ready. The pit lane opens in about 4 minutes for these drivers to get going again, and it shouldn't be too long before we're able to hear from Alex as well, as we just get ready for these drivers to make their way towards the circuit. Sorry about the break in proceedings. There was just a little bit of a run over from some of the previous series. Some of the previous races that were also going on at the circuit ran a little bit over the time that they were scheduled for, leading in delays for us to get out onto the circuit. But one race that we are all very eager to get underway and very excited for as well, Jan Piriowski. I am definitely going to be keeping my eye on him, and fingers crossed that he doesn't make the same mistake 3 times in a row, because obviously stalling 1 time, yes, it's a mistake. You should learn from it as a driver, but stalling 2 times, that's when questions start to be raised around your name. And Jan Piriowski, it's fair to say, is one of those drivers that doesn't show many signs of weakness and doesn't have many issues out on the race circuit. So it's so surprising to see him make the same mistake twice in 1 weekend. Let's see if he's able to get that issue resolved for the 3rd race. Obviously, in terms of the championship, Thomas Straubing completely clear of Ian Eichmann, who's just about hanging on to 2nd position in the championship by just 2 points over René Lammers. Lammers able to close that gap a little bit to Ian Eichmann's in that previous race. Not quite able to regain that 2nd position, though. Obviously, that is because Ian Eichmann's had that retirement in race 2, and Lammers walked away with 18 points and a race victory to his name. And that is Lammers' 3rd race win of the season that he's able to put under his belt. Jan Piriowski, as we mentioned, 4th in the championship right now, a few more points in behind, 6 points off the back of René Lammers in front, 8 points off Ian Eichmann. So the battle for 2nd position in the championship, doors are blown completely wide open, and it is anyone's game, as these 3 drivers all separated by just 8 points between them, and anything can happen in these races. We're just waiting to see what unfolds on the track itself. If we look a little bit further down the order, Nathan Ty, a driver which we've mentioned a few times over the course of this weekend, and really put his pace on display in that previous race where he was able to pick up a podium. Yes, that was aided by Jan Piriowski having that stall on the line, and that's what handed him that P3 result. But still, a very composed head on those shoulders, a veteran in the F4 Spanish Championship, you may say, as he did compete last year, finished 11th in the championship last year, and is now running in 5th. So a great improvement from Nathan Ty, and able to pick up a podium. He's coming off the back of some good momentum. He is starting a little bit further down the order, though. He'll be starting in 7th position for this race, so it has a bit of work to do if he wants to find himself in a podium contention position. So it's not going to be easy, but anything is possible for the TIE fighter. If we look at even further down the order, Juan Cota is in 6th position in the championship. He'll be starting 5th position on the grid once again. 2nd row, he's looking for a good haul of points in this one. So let's see what Juan Cota is able to do. And I do have word in my ear that we have our ears and eyes down on the track once again. Alex is down here for a chat. He is able to give us the latest. Obviously, Alex, a little bit of a break in proceedings here and a bit of a delay for this race to get going again, but I'm sure nerves will be very high. So what is the word from down in the paddock, Alex? Because there has been a bit of a break since the last race.
Well, to be honest, Kai, it's very, very, very hot in here in Jerez. We know that it is always hot in the south of Spain. But to be honest, we were expecting temperatures to be a little bit lower compared to yesterday, and that hasn't been the case. So teams and drivers have to adapt to that. That means, we've mentioned that through the weekend, that means different settings, different tire pressures, and all of those things to consider regarding that long race, because it is a longer race, same as first race yesterday. And that is the thing that everyone will have to consider. But more than anything, you know what we're all thinking about. I'm sure you're thinking about it. I know I'm thinking about it. And I'm sure 100% that our viewership on the other side of the screen, they are also watching. And what are they watching and thinking? Well, the man who's starting from that place behind me, the number 23 machine of Jan Piriowski, who of course was the main protagonist of the first 2 races, and not for good reasons. but rather for those two problems at the start, which basically ruined his whole weekend. He has one last shot at redemption starting from pole position. Whether he'll take it or not is for us to find out in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Jan Piriovski here. I'm sure that he will be all right, and I'm sure that he will be able to get away from this one. But as we mentioned before, it will be playing in the back of his mind, and it is going to be a factor that he has to take into account coming into this race. But Thomas Strauven starting a little bit further up in the grid than he has in the past few races. So excited to see what he's able to do, Alex.
Absolutely, it will be interesting to see what Thomas Strauven can do. He's probably without much pressure, and that puts him in a position where he can show his speed, show his overtaking abilities. And if there's a zero, yes, of course, nobody wants to have a zero, but it's a little bit less of a problem than it would be otherwise. So we should expect him to at least try to recover some positions to see how far he gets. And, well, maybe there's a position in the podium for him. I don't know. This is motorsport, and we know that surprises abound, and especially in Formula 4 Spanish Championship, we've seen some this year. So why not? Let's see about that. I think the first few corners will be crucial in that, because that is probably the first or the best chance that he will have to gain some position. So for sure, those first meters, crucial for his chances today.
Yeah, quite a few drivers that will be looking to prove themselves in this race that have had a couple of issues over the course of the weekend, and one driver that I think will have a lot to prove coming into this one, Renault Franco. He was having a great battle in the previous race, and then just one small mistake, found himself facing the wrong way, and he was out of his racing position. But still, some great racecraft on display, and I think one driver that we definitely need to keep an eye on, don't you think, Alex? Because in that previous race, he was definitely one of the stars of the show.
Absolutely, he was doing such a good race, and it's one of those things that hurts your heart when you see it, because when you see a driver that's maybe not usually so high up, doing a good job, battling with the strongest guys in the field, and you know, the smallest mistake in single-seaters, in motorsport in general, but especially in single-seaters and in Formula 4, has such big impact on your race, and that was heartbreaking to watch. And we had the chance to watch it, in fact, from the pit lane, and we saw him just spin by himself, and that was also sad to see. Again, one last shot at redemption, and that is the advantage of these championships, which give more than one race to the drivers. And I think in terms of feeder series, that's what you want to see, because you want to see drivers who, yes, are not afraid to make mistakes if they have to, because they know they have another chance to go back and show that they had the speed to begin with. And I hope we can see more of René Franco today, because he's shown his speed, so hopefully he can do that.
Yeah, it was a very good exhibition on display and kept us entertained at home watching along with that battle. Definitely causing some issues for the other competitors as well, but that's the name of the game. Talking about names, Ian Eichmann's one that's been on everyone's lips over the course of the weekend, as he managed to take home his maiden victory in the first race, but a retirement in the second race. What do we think we should see from him in this race, Alex? Because he's had that great result and then a little bit of a downer in the second race.
I would be surprised if he wasn't doing everything he could to get that second win. He said it before, he needs to get those results, and yes, well, sometimes you have bad luck and things happen and you have to retire, and this has happened to pretty much everyone or every competitive driver out there. He knows he can do it now, and you know, Kai, that drivers are changed by those crucial first victories. When you finally get that breakthrough maiden win, suddenly your confidence is boosted, you know you can do it, you know you can beat anybody on track, and that is exactly what potentially Ian Eichmann was, dare I say, missing. Maybe he wasn't missing much, but he was missing that last half a step of knowing he could do it. He can do it, we knew it, now he knows it, and there's one more chance to show to the world that he can do it. And even if he doesn't, there's 6 more races in Valencia and Barcelona to show that he's ready to step up to the next class. Whether that will be Formula Regional, Euro Cup 3. Some people are saying even Formula 3 is a possibility. I think that might be a tad too much. But let's see. What is clear is that Formula 4 Spanish Championship is a great breeding ground. And these rookie drivers are proving to us this year that they are fantastic. A fantastic crop that's coming up. As are also the future karting drivers that some of them are joining this weekend here in Jerez. Luis Werrell being one of them, Mickey Blasmus being another one of them, and there will be more, and also next year. So, Kai, I could be speaking here for at least 15, 20, 25 more minutes, but I cannot because the race is going to start soon. So I'll let you to it, but what's clear is that we have so much to look forward to today.
Yeah, we definitely do, and we've spoke a lot about the rookies that are on the grid. We haven't gave enough time to the veterans in this Spanish F4 grid, so to say, and one that appeared on the podium only for the second time this season, but always has his name in the mix. A driver that I've raced against personally throughout karting, Nathan Tai, managed to find himself on the third step of the podium in the second race, and it was a great result from him. He's been consistent over the course of the weekend, but what do you think has kept him from having those podium results, Alex? Because he always seems to be up at the front end, but not quite there.
You'll know him very well, Kai, since you have raced against him. Nathan Tai is a very talented driver. I think he has the, let's say, problem or challenge of being in a team that doesn't have as many machines as some of the top flight teams in the Formula 4 Spanish Championship. That's not to say that Roden is not a strong team, because it clearly is, as they've shown from all their experience in other series. But what we know is that having perhaps 5-6 competitive cars always helps you, because you have more data, you can share data among drivers, and that lets you progress faster through the free practice sessions and qualifyings. Luckily, there was enough testing here in Jerez for Roden to make a good progress, to make good inroads in finding that nicely balanced setup. He was quick in Paul Ricard, let's not forget about that as well. So it's not necessarily surprising that he's doing well here in Jerez. But the challenge is there, and I think sometimes drivers who have these kind of challenges are able to show their talent in a different way. Yes, they may not be winning every race they take part on, but to those who know where to look, it is very obvious that they're doing a great job.
Of course, very resilient in his racing, I think it's fair to say, and consistent in his point scoring finishes, and that's what's awarded him 5th position in the championship so far. And the drivers just sat there ready to get their racing underway, backed by Roden, as you said there, but the teams are sat waiting. Surely sat on the grid, Jan Piriowski is going to have a bit of trouble from Thomas Strauven alongside him. Our championship leader, Ian Eichmans, is on your picture right there. He'll be starting down from 6th position. But Juan Cota this weekend, Alex, has had some brilliant pace and also shown some great racing. So I'm excited what he's able to see and what he's able to do. But what's one driver that you think we should look out for, Alex, over the course of this race?
I think Juan Cota is definitely a guy to look out for. He has been quick. Somehow, he always has this second half of the seasons that are very competitive, and he's able to show that speed. We know he has it. It's been a tricky year for him. He's been with MP Motorsport. That's a new team. It's his first time in a team that's not a Spanish-speaking team. That changes the approach a little bit in terms of engineer work. And it's a year of learning in many ways. He's also been dovetailing the Formula 4 Spanish Championship with some Euro Cup 3 rounds. So as a driver, you know that changing from one machine to another kind of messes up with your pace a little bit. In that sense, he's done a good job. It's good to see him up close to the front. I do hope that we can continue to see him being competitive. Of course here, also in Valencia and also in Barcelona, because that would mean that he's ready to step up full-time in Euro Cup 3, which I think we would love to see, because he's a brave young driver. We saw that in race 1, when there's that little gap where no other driver would dare to jump in. He takes the plunge, and I think we admire those drivers who are not afraid to take those risks. So I say way to go for him.
A risk taker, labelled by Alex. Alex, thank you so much for your time. We'll hear from you later on in this race and after the race as well. But the drivers are now onto the circuit and on their formation lap, getting some heat into their tires, which I'm seeming won't take very long as we have very high track temperatures in the 40 degrees Celsius marks, and also a high air temperature of over 30 degrees as well. So it's not going to take long for these cars to get within this optimal operating window that we keep talking about for the cars as well. But as they make their way around, all eyes are on Jan Peryovsky. Will he crumble under the pressure once again, or will this be the race where we see him get a good getaway and not stall it on the line this point? We really do cross our fingers and hope that everything is okay there for him. But with Thomas Strauven alongside him, there's going to be a lot of pressure. That is your championship leader, the Belgian, starting on the front row, and he has quite a large point margin. Back to second position right now, 100 points back to Ian Eichmann for Thomas Strauven in the championship. Now, do remember, there is still another 2 rounds to go with 4 races, so that could be cut down. It is looking a little bit unlikely, but Thomas Strauven is looking to get the job done as soon as possible and wrap up the championship. We've already had 1 championship wrapped up over the course of this weekend in the Eurocup 3 championship, where we saw Mateo Carnaghi walk away with that. But in Spanish F4, it's not yet decided. Onto the home straight we go, and we get lined up. Drivers just getting ready for the start of this race. There is our front 2. As you can see, the pale white livery of the Griffin Core machines. Jan Peryovsky and Thomas Strauven on the front row. In behind them, we've got Juan Cota, Noah Montero. Row 3, René Lammers, Ian Eichmann. Row 4 is Nathan Tai and Nicolas Schaufer. Then Vivek Kantan and Renaud Franco rounding out the top 10. Just outside, best of the rest is Hudson Schwarzer and Santino Pinetta. Watch out for Christian Alfagali. He's been pretty rigorous over the course of this weekend, getting involved in 13th. And Andrei Petrovic starts alongside him in 14th. Up to the line we go. Safety car at the back of the field. We just wait for the green flag, which now flies. It's all eyes on the lights and to the gantry. Lights are out and we are racing. Thomas Strauven, Jan Peryovsky both get away this time. It's a little bit of a slow start there from Peryovsky, but at least he's off the line and he still was tucking into second. He's going to have to watch out for Cota. Cota's on the outside. He's going to try and attack it into turn 1. In the back of the midfield, we see Renaud Franco go around the outside of the number 10 as he's trying to gain a few positions. Dust getting kicked up in the background as drivers are forced off wide. Juan Cota didn't get the place done, so Peryovsky second. Strauven up into the lead. Watch out for Eichmann. He's going to try and get the move done on Noah Montero. He's just departed off René Lammers as Lammers drops down into 6th position. Eichmann's up into 5th. We're looking at our top 3 right now. In the background, on the inside, there goes Eichmann. He's not going to wait around as we can see him getting that move done. Is that dropping down a little bit? Yes, it is. Noah Montero in the background. We can see Eichmann's weaving left and right just in front of him. We can see Montero and Lammers as he tries to hold on around the outside. He's going to get beached out wide. 2 cars off. 2 cars off in the background and into the gravel trap. And 1 car on the right-hand side completely beached. Who is that that's went off? We can't quite see who the car is that's went off on the left-hand side. We do have the number 77 of Andrei Petrovic stopped on the circuit. Will there be a safety car deployed for that? I would not be surprised. There's already been 2 safety cars this weekend, and this is going to be a 3rd. Safety car is deployed out on the circuit. So racing is neutralized for the time being. And there was one of the machines that was involved in the incident of Christian Alfagali. That's such a shame to see there for Christopher Alfagali. As he'll drop down to the back of the field, it looks like Noah Schaffler was also involved in that one. As Schaffler tumbles down the order. Who's that getting out of the machine? That looks like that might be there. Yes, it is. The number 10 of Schaffler. Schaffler will jump out of his MP Motorsport machine and walk away in dismay. That's unfortunate. 1 driver in the pit lane. That looks like Panetta. Panetta's pulled into the pit lane. So maybe some damage on the car there. I would not be surprised at all. The number 39 pulls in. That looks like it's going to be a new front wing. Quick pit stop. He gets straight back out into racing action. So Panetta may be involved in that incident as well, picking up a little bit of damage on that front wing. He'll be let out of the pit lane and released back onto the circuit where he'll be able to gain back the time and catch onto the back of the field. But that's such a shame to see there as Schaffler just walks away from the car. Nicholas Schaffler, not what you want to be seeing at all there. The number 10 had been putting on a show so far this weekend, getting involved in some nice battles. But race 3, it's cut very, very short for him. With all that chaos going on, let's have a look at what is going on with the order. In the lead, Thomas Straubing holds on. Jan Periowski is in second. Much better position than he's found himself in the last 2 races. Juan Cota jumped up into third, tried to press Periowski off the line. Periowski did a very good job at fending off that MP Motorsport machine. In behind, Rene Lammers finds himself in fourth with Noah Montero and Ian Eichmanns. Those 3 were having a great battle between the 3 of them. Eichmanns was just diving left and right, looking for a gap to open up between the 2 competitors in front as he was just spectating the fight in front of him, waiting for an opportunity to arise and waiting for the battle to go awry. Nathan Ty standing strong in 7th with Renault Franco in behind him. Renault Franco, we know, was very, very ruthless on his defense in the last race. Let's have a replay of the start here. Periowski just a little bit slow off the line there, which we saw Straubing able to jump him. On the outside, Juan Cota was straight on the attack. He was wasting no time. You can see Eichmanns getting involved as well, as Eichmanns tried to make the move around the outside of Lammers. And that was where Eichmanns tried to get in front of Noah Montero, but found himself on the gravel, and then it all kicked off in the background. And this is what we found 2 retirements from, as we see Nicholas Schaffler and Andrei Petrovic also off the circuit. And that is Christopher Elfagali, and that is why he was slowed down. You could see his front wing there, not in the position it should be, I don't think. It was very much pointed to the left-hand side. So a bit of damage there. I'm sure Elfagali, yes he has. Elfagali just pulls into the pit lane now, and that will be a quick front wing change there for the DriveX team. So Elfagali will pick up a new front wing and get himself ready for racing action. There you can see the team making the pit stop and making the change. As the front wing is pulled off there. New one goes on, and it should be a pretty simple change here, and we should have Christopher Elfagali back in racing contention pretty soon. The safety car just leading our drivers around now. And Thomas Straubing in a difficult position with his teammate in behind. Does he back off his teammate into Juan Cota off this restart? Or does he try and help his teammate out and lead him off with a tow? That's the question that you got to ask yourself. Will team games be played, or is it every man for himself out there for the Griffin Core machinery? There's only one way to find out, and that's when the safety car is released back into the pit lane. So let's wait and see what happens here. Cars still circulating around. It looks like the majority of the issues have been cleared from the circuit. There doesn't look like there's any more stranded cars or debris, so we will just be waiting for the number 33 of Christopher Elfagali to get himself back onto the pack. And then we should be under with racing action again. 23 minutes still remaining on the clock. So the time has been cut down quite significantly, but we also do have a lot of racing time remaining in this race. Now, safety car restarts, it's all about mental games, and we saw this yesterday in race 1, where off the restart, we had Rene Lammers just completely backing off Ian Eichmanns as much as possible. And on the second restart of the safety car, actually backing off the whole of the pack right up until the line. Normally you would see the drivers plant their foot and go back to racing speed around the final corner here. But Rene Lammers yesterday opted for that defensive strategy and backed up Ian Eichmanns right to the line and caught him off guard when he put his foot back down. That put Eichmanns under a bit of pressure, but Eichmanns dealt with it well, and in the end walked away with a race victory. Drivers weaving left and right here, just trying to keep some warmth in their tyres, keep their cars within that operating window and ready for whenever that safety car peels off into the pit lane. Obviously, much reduced lap times around the circuit right now. 2:35 was the last lap, which we completed. So nearly double the time it takes for the drivers to normally complete a lap around this Jerez circuit. But at the front end, we've got Thomas Straubing and obviously Jan Periowski, the drivers that are first and fourth in the championship. Two teammates, but big differences between them. Thomas Straubing has 6 wins under his belt in comparison to the half of that Jan Periowski has. He only has 3. Thomas Straubing also having double the podiums of his teammate. So that just shows where that points advantage comes from. And that completely ekes him out in front of the rest of the pack. Straubing also has 3 non-point score finishes where he's had 3 DNFs. Straubing, not a single DNF this season, so Mr. Consistency, and that's what finds him in the lead of the championship by such a large margin, even in comparison to the likes of Ian Eichmans, who's second in the championship. Eichmans has had 2 DNFs over the course of this season. Straubing still has none, and has a much higher average finishing position than any other driver. Thomas Straubing, his consistency shines through. He has an average finishing position of 5th on the grid in comparison to Ian Eichmann's 8th. So Eichmann's still on average gets a point score and finish every single time, but it's not a top 5 result like we see from Thomas Straubing. And safety car is let loose, which means that these drivers are now within racing sequence, and Thomas Straubing is virtually acting as the safety car right now. He controls the pace at the front of the field, and he determines when we go, and we go racing now. It's an early let go here from Thomas Straubing, and he's completely caught Jan Periowski off guard, but Juan Cota has responded beautifully as he's all over the rear diffuser of Jan Periowski right now. We dart down the home straight, push to pass available. I feel like Periowski's going to have to use it for offensive and defensive reasons as well. Watch for Lammers going defensive. There goes Cota, watch in the background. That's in behind Ian Eichmans there as Nathan Ty's going to have to go defensive from Renault Franco. Franco finds the inside line, cut across goes Ty. Lammers is just having to go defensive up at the front end as they're still side by side. Lammers on the gravel there as we're still racing between him and Juan Cota, but Lammers gets the move done. Although he kicks up a bit of dust in doing so, he finds himself in 3rd position now. So Juan Cota now having to defend from Noah Montero in behind, as Noah Montero is piling a little bit of pressure onto the back of the MP racing machine. Going defensive goes Lammers. He goes to the inside, so does Nathan Ty. Franco follows. Here's the 57 of Higgins. Higgins having to watch out for Rieber and Spina in behind. Spina has Suslov also very close to that rear gearbox. So off this restart, drivers clearly feeling the pressure as there has been a lot of squabbling and a lot of defensive maneuvers having to be put on display for drivers to hold on to their positions. But one driver that wasn't able to hold on to their position was Juan Cota as René Lammers promotes himself up into 3rd on what was a daring move that put himself onto the gravel trap. It inevitably paid off for him. Through the chicane, down towards the final corner we go. Thomas Straubing, what was initially a great gap that he managed to pull over his teammate, has instantly been cut down, and Jan Periowski is proving his pace and his passion to catch on to the lead here. In behind, we're keeping an eye on Juan Cota as he's darting left and right, trying to shake off Montero in behind. Montero's on the inside. He's going to have to back out of that one. Ooh, very, very close there between Montero and Juan Cota. Cota, although he was on the outside line, just able to carry a lot more rolling speed into the corner, and that's what meant he was able to hold on to that position. But Montero, I don't think we've seen the last of him. He will try that something like that again. It was a good opportunity, and Montero makes his intentions clear as he really starting to attack the back of that MP Motorsport machine. Watch in the background as Ian Eichmans is under a bit of pressure from Nathan Ty. Here he comes on the outside. Eichmann's defends. Can he get the drive back on the switchback? No, he can't. So Nathan Tai is going to be condemned for the minute as he couldn't get the drive out of the corner. Let's have a bit of a replay here. What are we looking at? That is going to be the battle between Juan Cota and Rene Lammers. As Lammers is all over the back of Cota here. This was a replay of their battle. This was the restart, actually. And just look at the gap which Straubing was able to pull out. Juan Cota instantly has to go on the defense. And on the outside line, using all the runoff and track to his advantage, Rene Lammers was able to get that move secured. Having to take to the gravel in doing so. But carrying so much momentum and speed that it didn't even affect him that much. Even so, Lammers up to third, Cota down to fourth. Let's keep an eye on Noah Montero as well, as he is still very close in behind Juan Cota. Nathan Tai not as close this time round, as Eichmanns doesn't feel the need to defend down into turn one as he did last time round. Ian Eichmanns proving why he's the Richard Mill Young Talent Academy Shootout winner. Won it at this circuit. Won his first Spanish F4 race at this circuit. Can he do a double? It's going to be a tall order, but there is still over half the race remaining, so anything can happen. Further down the pack, Hudson Schwartz has just made his way past Suslov. So Hudson Schwartz is up into 14th position. At the front end, I saw Periovsky peel out. Tai on the defensive now, as Franco's all over the rear end of him. Franco is normally the one in this position. He'll try the switchback coming off of turn 6. Towards turn 7, though, recovery lights are on. Franco's going to back out. So Renault Franco, you could see the flashing red lights on the back of that car. That means he's recovering the energy which he's just deployed under braking. So backed out of that move from Tai, thought better of it, and he'll wait for a better opportunity to attack the Brit. Up in front, Straubing still not able to shake off his teammate of Periovsky. Periovsky clearly feels like he has something to prove in this race, and you don't blame him at all. With 2 major mistakes off the start in the last ones, he's going to want to walk away with a race win in this. Even still, he's looking very set for a podium if it's not a race victory. Unless something drastic happens, I can't see it going any other way. As Rene Lammers has a nice little bit of breathing room in front and behind. Doesn't really have to worry about the cars in behind, doesn't have to worry about the cars in front. He's just focusing on his own race right now and setting consistent lap times, lap after lap. And that's all Rene Lammers can do to hope that he catches onto the back of the 2 Griffincourt cars. I'm pretty sure that the Griffincourt cars will be working together now to try and pull away from the rest of the field. Rene Lammers, obviously experienced in this field. He finished 13th last year in the Spanish F4 Championship. Finished 6th in the... Sorry, has had a best finish of 6th in the Winter Series, but looking a lot better this time. Periovsky thinks about it, but backs out of that one. He just peers and positions himself into the mirrors of Thomas Straubing to make sure that his teammate knows he's there and knows he's looking for that move if it shows up. Down the inside, that's going to be a late one there. Will he manage to get the move done? It's going to be tricky for Jacoby, but he's still going to try and hang it on the outside. Left out to dry, and it's going to be dust kicked up. Jacoby tried the move on Carras. Carras wasn't letting that one go. The new G4 Racing team showing that they are a force to be reckoned with, new to the grid for the rest of the season, but still looking to bring home some points if possible. That is a little bit further down the field. But Boganovic managed to get past Jacoby in the end of that one. So with Jacoby being hung out to dry on the gravel, Boganovic managed to make his way through. In front, it's still very close between the 2 teammates. You saw going into the final corner that Periovsky thought about making the move once again. And as we get up towards turn 1, Jan Periovsky is looking more and more restless as the laps go on. And I feel like it's just a moment of time before Periovsky completely sends a move on his teammate. Straubing surely has to be prepared for the moment to come, because you can see it coming from a mile off. Only 3 temps between them. Piriovski, the quicker of the two. Piriovski with the fastest lap in this race by a little bit of a margin over René Lammers in the moment. Defensive goes Stralven. Now we're starting to feel the heat. Piriovski tries it on the switchback. He's going to have to back out on the outside. But the two teammates are going to start coming to blows. He looks to the inside. If you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. As Piriovski's looking for the move. Thomas Stralven clearly starting to feel the pressure out in front now. As he's feeling the need to defend from his teammate. Piriovski, superior in terms of pace, but not track position for the time being. As the number 99 puts himself in first right now. But as we round the final couple of bends and onto the home straight, we now head as we round the final corner. Jan Piriovski closer than ever. He's virtually touching the rear wing of his teammate in front. Surely push to pass is going to be needed here for Piriovski to get the move done down the home straight. Or if it's not available to him, Thomas Stralven might have to use it in a defensive manner to try and get himself away from his teammate in behind. But Jan Piriovski, he's looking for his 4th win of the season. But can he pick one up? That's going to be the question. The last time that we saw Jan Piriovski on the top step of the podium was in Navarra. And that's one driver into the pit lane. That looks like that's the number 24 that's pulled in of Lee. Yeah, pulling into the pit lane comes the driver in the number 23 machinery for Roden. That's such a shame to see there for Kuyo Lee. So Kuyo Lee pulls in, and we're straight over towards that rear end of the car. Was it a problem? It could have been a possible puncture there, because I only saw the rear tire come off. So maybe a slow puncture or a puncture for Kuyo Lee. But either way, that's what pulls him into the pit lane. It's a quick fix, and he's let loose onto the circuit once again. Our attention is turned straight back to the front of the field with 10 minutes ticking down on the clock now. René Lammers seems to be getting closer and closer as he's gaining time on the two leaders right now. Lammers only 1.5 seconds in behind Piriovski. As we come on to the home straight, and across the line we go. What is Piriovski able to do? What is Lammers able to do? Especially with there being such a margin in front. But the two teammates deciding not to battle just yet. Jerez, obviously a circuit steeped in history. Circuit first opened in 1985 and hosted the first ever Formula One Spanish Grand Prix at this circuit in 1986. Obviously not the first ever Spanish Grand Prix, but the first Spanish Grand Prix that was held at Jerez was in 1986, so just 1 year after the track opened. So many famous names have raced at this circuit. The likes of Michael Schumacher taking victory around here. So anyone that wins around this circuit is steeped into a hill of some very iconic names in motorsport. Obviously the circuit of Jerez, home to racing on 2 and 4 wheels as well, as the Global Superbike Championship also visits Jerez on their calendar. But Spanish F4 is the championship at hand that we're looking at. And the two Griffin cores in front, just trading sectors and trading lap times. Arguably, Piriovski is the faster of the two drivers as he's consistently quicker than his teammate out in front. But dirty air is not going to be in the favor of the number 23 at all. As around the final couple of bends and onto the home straight we go. Renault Franco has just about fallen off the back of Nathan Ty there. We can see Ian Eichmann's in a bit of dead space as he has the number 81 of Noah Montero in front of him. Noah Montero, obviously another big name in the world of European karting, as he finds himself on the grid for Spanish F4 this weekend. A few other big names from karting. We have Miki Blascos making his debut for Monlau Motorsport, as well as Lewis Werrell for the T-Code team. Lewis Werrell found himself with a lot of success in European karting. Not the weekend he would have been hoping for, but it is a big culture shock going from karting to single-seater. So thrown into the deep end as Lewis Werrell finds himself 28th on the track right now. With some honourable lap times, he's definitely not far off the pace, is Werrell. So definitely a driver that we need to keep an eye on and see how he develops over the next few years in his racing career. Obviously, this is only the start of his single-seater career. But out in front, Thomas Strauven, still the Belgian that leads. And it looks like we may have 2 Belgian winners this weekend, if it stays the way that it is. Ian Eichmann's in the first race, Thomas Strauven in the third, and René Lammers to break it up in the second. There's Nathan Tye as we're having a look at him making his way around the circuit. Still with a little bit of a pressure from Renault Franco in behind. Tye will know that if he makes any mistakes at all, that Franco's going to be right on his tail and ready to pick up the place if available. If we have a look at a comparison in terms of championship points, obviously Tye in 5th, Renault Franco in 7th right now. The main difference between them is Nathan Tye having that race win under his belt that he picked up at the circuit of Paul Ricard. Paul Ricard was a brilliant weekend for Nathan Tye, but that DNF also, unfortunately, dropping down his points total by a little bit. Both drivers have two podiums to their names. One of them being just earlier today for Nathan Tye in race 2, where he picked up a 3rd position finish. But out in front, it's not looking like it's going to be a podium again for Tye or Renault Franco. I don't think it's going to go either way, but more the way of Thomas Strauven, Jan Piriowski, and René Lammers. I feel like that top 3 is pretty much secure for the time being. As Jan Piriowski still 4th in the championship, what will this do to his championship fight? As obviously he will pick up a nice haul of 18 points or 25 if he's able to get himself into the lead. But 18 points going the way of Jan Piriowski right now would promote him to 2nd in the championship. 18 points would put him on 162 total. And with Ian Eichmann's being down in P6, that would just jump him by 1 point in the championship. So Jan Piriowski, even if he can just keep it the way that it is, he would find himself 2nd. Oh, a cloud of dust and 1 car off in the background. Who's that? That looks like one of the MP Motorsport machines. No, it's not. That is the number 25. We'll have a look down the order. Oh, and once again, Miko Blaskos finds himself in trouble. We were just singing our praises of how good he's been over the course of this weekend and getting involved in the battles. But this time around, he finds himself beached in the gravel trap. And I feel like that may be the end of the race for Miko Blaskos. Yes, it is. He gets out of the car and he walks away. He is quite close to what is going to be an emergency exit. So fingers crossed we don't get a safety car out here on the circuit, as that could very much neutralize the race and determine our order. Who's that into the pit lane? Is that Fiorentino? It looks like it may be. The DriveX machine of Fiorentino has pulled into the pit lane. Unfortunately, what I could only guess is damage possibly from that incident with Miko Blaskos. But either way, Fiorentino pulls into pit lane and will retire from this race. A shame to see there for the Brazilian driver. But it does look like we will be able to recover the car of Miko Blaskos without getting a safety car out on the circuit. So that is what you want to see. And that does mean that there still is a chance for Jan Piriowski to take the lead of this race. There in 3rd position, you can see René Lammers. Then in behind, Juan Cota. Still has Noah Montero fairly close in behind. Ian Eichmann's not looking like he's going to be able to improve his positions by much unless something happens in front of him. Eichmann's virtually a spectator at this point, in a similar position to what Lammers is right now. Lammers will just be watching these two cars in front and hoping that something happens between them, hoping that they crash into each other, because obviously that would promote himself up into the race win or into P2 if either of that was about to happen. Yellow flags still prominent out on the circuit, but we haven't had a safety car yet. So only one safety car so far this race, 3 safety cars over the course of the weekend. And just about hanging on right now is Thomas Straubing. You would have thought he would be a little bit more dominant, being our championship leader. But Jan Periowski is piling on the pressure to his Griffincore teammate, as 14 laps have been condemned under the driver's belt, but the fastest lap goes the way the man in second position. Round into the third sector we go now, with just 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Periowski's had his chances, he's had his moments. We've seen him dart to the inside line a couple of times when he was closer to the back of his teammate. But with time dwindling down and the clock starting to diminish, I can't see anything happening just yet. Let's have a look here at a bit of a battle between the 1 and the 78. That looks like that's going to be Hudson Schwartz and Spina going for a bit of a battle. Spina inevitably getting that move done on Hudson Schwartz, as Schwartz is demoted down into 13th, up into 12 goes Spina. Great job from the Italian to get himself up a place. But yeah, Straubing commanding out in front right now, extending that lead to over half a second to his teammate. And with there only being 2 more laps in this race, I can't see it changing at all. Yellow flags are still out in the second sector around turn 8 to 9. Those yellow flags still being for the recovery of Miko Blaskos. But over the front end, nothing really changing, as the pack seems to have been a little bit more strung out than we've seen in previous races, even with a safety car having something to say earlier on. The way the order finds itself right now, it's Straubing leading from Periowski, who's very, very close there as we make our way down into the turn 6 hairpin. From Lammers, you see come into your picture now, Cota and Montero. Eichmann's then follows. Nathan Tighe's been able to hold off Renault Franco for the time being, as those two were definitely clashing heads earlier on. Side by side a few times did go the number 11 and the 46. But the clock strikes 0. Time is up, and no more time to play here. It's now or never for Jan Periowski. He has 1 more lap to get the move done if he wants to get himself into the race lead. Either way, he promotes himself into second in the championship, so it's a good haul of points, and definitely a big improvement from the first 2 races where he stalled on the grid. This time round, it wasn't the best launch off the line, but he still is in that racing contention. That's how Straubing was able to get into the lead off the line, and from there on, hasn't really had many issues. A couple of moments where Periowski has looked to be threatening on the attack, but Straubing has managed to deal with them well. And that is the experienced driver that he is, Obviously his second time outing in the Spanish F4 Championship. This is his second season. He actually made his debut in the Spanish F4 Series in 2023, only participating in 1 round, which was Jerez. So a lot of history around this circuit for Thomas Straubing in the Spanish F4 Championship. The first ever time he hit a single-seater was around this track. That time it was with MP Motorsport. This time for Griffincore by Campos. Towards turn 6, Straubing's feeling the heat. Periowski to the outside. They draw level to the apex, squeezed out wide. Straubing's not leaving anything on the table, and Periowski has to take to the gravel. Stones are kicked onto the circuit, and I'm sure hands are being flown in the air, as Periowski will not be happy with what's just unfolded in front of him. He'll feel that's unfair. He'll feel that he's just been forced off the circuit. But Thomas Straubing, by any means necessary, holds on to this race lead. It was always going to be a daring move from Periowski to line up on the outside of turn 6 alongside Straubing. 9 times out of 10, that move is never going to work, and that time around it didn't. Down towards the final corner we go. Yellow flag still out for Blascos's car. And it's just going to be one more turn before it's another Belgian on the top step. For the second time this weekend, we have a Belgian victor. This time being Thomas Stralvin, our championship leader. Just extends his championship lead over Jan Periowski in second position as he manages to jump René Lammers and Ian Eichmans as well. No, I do make a mistake there. So Thomas Stralvin walks away with 25 points. Periowski walks away with 18. Lammers walks away with 15. Which means that it's going to be René Lammers who jumps into second in the championship. Periowski did need to get that move done if he wanted to be second in the championship. But he wasn't able to do it this time round. And the teammates draw level on the in-lap. But René Lammers, he jumps up into second in the championship. Periowski follows in suit in for third. And Ian Eichmans, from what was a dream start to the weekend, he'll drop down into fourth position in the championship. As he'll be demoted another 2 places. His 2 closest rivals finished both ahead of him in this race. And both on the podium as well. Eichmans finishing down in 6th. He still walks away with a nice little haul of points. But he would have been hoping for more from what looked like a very promising weekend from his perspective. But a tour to the pit lane, and it's Thomas Stralvin returning to victory. Last time we saw Thomas Stralvin on the top step was out in Paul Ricard. Race 3 in Paul Ricard, we last saw Thomas Stralvin walk away with a victory. And it was 6 wins to his name, make it lucky number 7. And with only 2 more rounds remaining in this championship, Thomas Stralvin has set himself up in a brilliant position to walk away with it in the next round if possible. So through the chicane, down towards the final bend we go, and peeling off into the pit lane before the celebrations can start to commence. Down towards the pit lane, Stralvin leads us in. It's 2 Griffin cores on the top 2 steps. But the MP Motorsport of Lammers follows in suit in third. From a race win in the last one, down into third in this one, it's still 2 podiums to walk away with. Griffin Corps will continue to extend their lead in the team's championship. It was only 1 point that separated them and MP Motorsport. But with having 2 of their cars on the top 2 steps, that's going to work majorly in their favour. So Griffin Corps just pulls out a nice little bit of a lead in the team's championship, sorry. It's not by much, but every point counts at the end of the day. And Thomas Stralvin is feeling the look. A shake of hands as both drivers embrace each other. Even though there was that moment on circuit, it's great to see the team camaraderie between the 2 of them. So we go over Thomas Stralvin and Jan Periowski. Will be congratulated by their team of Griffin Corps. And then we'll have a short little debrief with their mechanics and with their engineers as well. Walking over is the Campos Racing driver of Noah Montero. As Montero comes over to join in the celebrations as well. René Lammers out of our picture, I'm sure, will be dealing with the same situation. But as we wait for these drivers to get themselves sorted, Alex will be down there waiting, ready for a chat with Thomas Stralvin. After the pictures have been taken and after the celebrations cool down, we will get a word with our race winner of Thomas Stralvin, who extends his championship lead. It was 252 points. It's now 276. So 277 points, sorry, for Thomas Stralvin after that race win. Fastest lap did go the way of Jan Periowski. And a few highlights here from the race. And that was a very heated battle that had developed there early on in the race between what was René Lammers, Ian Eichmans and Noah Montero, as those 3 were having a nice little battle in the opening stages. That was Nathan Ty and Renaud Franco as they were having their scrap out on the circuit. But plenty of battles to keep your eye on throughout that race. Towards the end, it started to calm down a little bit now, and as the celebrations cooled down, Alex is down there waiting for a quick chat with Thomas Straubing after what was a commanding race victory. Down to you for it, Alex.
Thomas Straubing, we know of the third race of the weekend here in Jerez. We knew that statistically the run of wins should have to end at some point, but you made sure to come back pretty soon after that.
Yeah, we managed to win this race with a good start of the grid, overtaking Jan, and after managing the race quite well. I think Jan was very quick because he crashed also in race 1. So he had really good tires, so it was really hard to keep in front. But this track is quite hard following, so yeah, I think we managed it quite well, and yeah, I'm super happy to be back on the top step.
We know that racing is always a hard thing to do when it's wheel to wheel with another driver. It is a little bit harder when it's a teammate. How did you manage that? Because we had a couple of sketchy moments between the two of you. I know that it's no hard feelings because you had a nice greeting at the end of the race, but it's always a bit more tense, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously it's you need to be respectful to each other, but when you just be respectful to each other, it's always just you know what you need to do with each other, and obviously you race a bit different than you race to other people, but still you always focus on your own, and yeah.
Looking into the next one, there's a real possibility of clinching the title in Valencia. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I hope we can actually win the title there, but first of all we need to see what we can do in race 1 there, and hopefully taking the win in the championship in race 2. But yeah, now step by step, just first do a good qualifying there, and let's see what we can do there.
All right, Thomas, good job. Congratulations. Time to enjoy for now.
Thank you.
So that's our race winner for the last time this weekend here, Thomas Straubing, who, as we mentioned, was pretty quick to come back on the top step of the podium after this, let's say, the end of his run of victories. But he gave us a key point that we hadn't thought about it, and he was pretty right. After the problems that Jan Priorsky had on race 1, that means he also had a bit better tires, so that is also what made his life a little bit more difficult towards the end of the race. And what an excitement that gave us, Kai. So that was pretty nice to watch. Also pretty interesting to hear from the man himself to give us the key to that fight.
Yeah, and we really did see that in the closing stages, didn't we, Alex? Where Jan Piriowski was able to take the life out of his tyres when Thomas Straubing didn't have that to his advantage. As you mentioned, once again, Thomas Straubing, a very good opportunity at walking away with this title in Valencia. So we'll have to wait and see if he's able to walk away with that one. We've had one title taken this weekend, but Thomas Straubing, can he do it next time out in Valencia, as there's not long left in this Spanish F4 campaign? We're just waiting for the drivers' podium to get underway, which will be our top 3 drivers of Thomas Straubing, Jan Piriowski, and Rene Lammers. Once again, as we heard, Thomas Straubing and Jan Piriowski, very respectful between the two of them. And Alex, we've heard that you're still here ready for a chat. Thomas Straubing, Mr. Consistency, a nice haul of points once again, 25 going towards his title chance. Do you see it get wrapped up in Valencia, Alex? Because with the way that he's going, I can't see it going any other way.
Honestly, the way everything is going, as you said, that's the foregone conclusion that we should look at in Cheste, isn't it? Because the advantage is just so big that I cannot see anyone getting as close so as to have a mathematical chance before Barcelona. First of all, because of his performance, which means that he is likely to increase rather than decrease his lead over the next 3 races there, but also because his advantage is so big that for any rival to actually cut down that advantage enough, there should be something pretty dramatic happening to the championship leader, and for said rival to have a fantastic weekend, which is, if we look at the mathematics of this year, of this 2025, we haven't had any round where those elements have congealed in the same race weekend. So that means that most likely we're not going to see it, because statistically it's not going to happen. That said, I always say this, Kai, this is motorsport. Motorsport offers surprises sometimes. So, as Thomas himself said, let's not take it for granted. Let's go first to qualifying one and work from there. And I think that's probably the smartest way to look at it. And so we shall follow the lead, pun intended, of the championship leader.
Of course, anything can happen, but out of the 15 races, Thomas Stralvin has finished in the top 10 14 times and finished in the top 5 13 times. When I say he's missed a consistency, I mean that with an exclamation point in front of it as well, because it just seems like he's taken home such a large haul of points every single time that he hits the track. Jan Periowski, though, just fell a little bit short. It was a rough start once again from him. He lost out to Thomas Stralvin early on, and unfortunately, it does seem like we're going to lose out on that one. But Alex, thank you very much for your time. We'll get ready for the podium celebrations over here as the drivers are now lining up on the podium. As our winner of Thomas Stralvin now walks out onto the podium, and we'll take the congratulations from the other drivers. Handshakes all around and onto the top step. Podium trophies will very shortly be awarded out right now. First out to the team trophy for a representative from the Griffin Core team. So a good weekend for the Griffin Core machinery and everyone behind the scenes as well, as they managed to eke out a gap in the team's championship, as well as the drivers' championship from the likes of Thomas Stralvin. René Lammers is awarded his trophy there as he jumps Ian Eichmans to get himself into second in the championship. And the man who had a chance of getting into second in the championship if he won this race couldn't quite take full advantage of the tyre benefit that he had, but it's still a very notable second position for Jan Periowski and a great improvement from his first two results of the weekend. But the man who walks away on the top step, it's Thomas Stralvin. We've said this name 7 times now this season. He's been on the top step, and now with all the trophies being awarded out, we will just wait for the Belgian national anthem.
Fuerte el aplauso para los integrantes del Podium, para Thomas Stralvin, vencedor en la jornada de hoy.
So that was the Belgian national anthem for our winner of Thomas Stralvin, the driver who could walk away with the championship win next time round. And I would not be surprised at all if that is what we see. 1, 2, and 3 on the podium as the photos are now being taken and the celebrations can soon start for all of these drivers. Trophies are down, bottles are picked up, and it's time for the champagne as the celebrations start. And on top step, Thomas Stralvin will soak up the victory and soak up the champagne as well. And down the back of the neck, that's going to be very cold there for Thomas Stralvin, but still a smile on his face after a tough race victory. But that concludes round 5 of the Spanish F4 Championship here in Jerez as we look forward to our next round in Valencia, round 6, that will be taking place from the 17th to the 19th of October. But we set up the podium once again as it looks like we're getting ready for the rookie podium, if I'm not correct. We won't see the rookie podium just yet. We'll focus on to the next round and see what happens there. Will Thomas Stralvin round out the championship in round 6? He's got a good chance of doing so. Action starts on the 17th of October to the 19th of October. So make sure to clear your diaries. Make sure to clear your diaries and make sure you're ready for the penultimate round of the Spanish F4 Championship.